So the season's over. The Mets lost. The Reds lost. Didn't matter because the Mets lost. Absolutely disgraceful, shameful, embarrassing by the New York Mets. Not just this weekend against the Miami Marlins, not against the Washington Nationals, which also was equally as embarrassing, disgraceful, shameful. The entire season was terrible, awful. What a terrible, awful 2025 season that I cannot wait to never talk about again after this week. I can't do it anymore. We still got like 4 more episodes to make sure that we are masochists and remember how horrible of a year this was. But for now, we're going to talk about what just happened this weekend. Mets completely shitting down their leg against the Miami Marlins. James, I'm not even going to do the normal intro because I got no juice. It is 2:30 in the morning. I just came off of a 2-hour delayed flight in Charlotte on the plane for 2 hours delayed. So I'm not just pissed about the Mets. I'm pissed about that too. I've got a lot of raw takes coming at the people. But how are you feeling now that you've actually had like a normal day to sit on how awful the Mets were?
I mean, a relatively normal day, like as normal as a day could be when your favorite team just destroys your entire being and emotional state that way. Terrible. I'm honestly doing terribly. I was out in Brooklyn watching the game. I've talked to a lot of random Mets fans today. It's just, this is a horrible way to end. Truthfully, though, sadly, it's a very fitting and deserving way for this season to end.
Oh, yeah.
Getting every opportunity you possibly could have ever asked for and still failing repeatedly at it, while at the same time offering these weird, slight glimmers of hope and this tiny little tick in the back of your mind that you actually did get a little bit unlucky in this specific individual game, and still just looking back at this whole thing at once, letting all of the horrible losses seep back into your brain, all the one-run games, all the bullpen decisions, all 3 of the 7-game losing streaks jump back in your mind at that one moment, and you realize that any one thing you could have done better in the whole year, and we don't have this conversation now. We have it in 3 days, but it's still just a disaster.
Yeah, I had a lot of time to think about what I wanted to say on here. I'm not going to scream and yell and rant because I'm exhausted, and I think you guys are too. Watching this team was exhausting this year. This was one of the least fun experiences ever as a New York Mets fan, and it has nothing to do with Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso. It has to do with the organization as a whole. There's a putrid smell, a putrid stink around this organization right now that I thought we had gotten rid of. I thought that there were better days ahead. But from Steve Cohen to David Stearns to Carlos Mendoza to the players on the field to the coaches in the dugout and to everything outside of the fan base, what an absolute disgrace, shameful way to show to your fans how to play baseball. To win 83 games, not make the postseason, like you mentioned, in a season where you were given every opportunity. The Reds, they stink.
Not good.
They're horrible. But you know who stinks a lot more? The New York Mets. Absolute fucking joke. We are pro David Stearns on this podcast, I know. But it is hard right now to look at what he did this season and not be pissed off. It's hard to not look at Steve Cohen and be like what the fuck happened, man? The 5-year plan didn't work. I don't know how much I can trust this guy right now. This was year 5. And I know he spent a lot of money, and I'm happy about the money being spent, but like, this is the product that was on the field in what was supposed to be the final year of the timeline that he created. Nobody forced him to make that timeline. It's a bad fucking look. Top to bottom, this is a horrible, horrible look, and you've got to fucking flush the toilet and start new. And when I say start new, it's not get rid of Soto, get little Lindor, don't bring Alonso back. But I think there's a lot of shit in this organization, a lot of stink that cannot exist past this season. Today is the last day of the 2025 season for the New York Mets. It cannot exist in 2026, even for a fucking second.
I think that the way we're going to do this week is that this episode is going to be just raw emotions. Mark and I are just going back and forth with exactly what we're feeling in the second. We have your guys' voicemails probably tomorrow that we're going to grade, I think, every single player. And then also, if we're going to do 4 this week, maybe save one of these for next week, do one where we literally just talk about the organizational structure, the organizational feelings.
The failure.
Cohen, Stearns, Mendoza. Talk about those guys separate from the players because everybody's at fault. Every single person. There's 26 guys, all the 47 pitchers that appeared. I guess besides Dom Hamill, I'm not going to tell you it's Dom Hamill's fault right now.
No, it was never Dom Hamill's fault.
I'm absolving
or Jared Young.
I'm absolving Travis Jankowski. He's not his fault either. Like those guys, absolutely scot-free. You're okay. But basically from top to bottom, every single person on this team has a little bit that we could say about them. And that's kind of the hardest thing to rationalize here because like you can't like grab a scapegoat. You can't point to a guy. You can't even point to a moment because there were like 50 of them.
100?
It's you just bled out for 3 straight months. Like you basically tripped and fell. You scraped your knee on a rock. And then you let that become a gushing wound that
infection
that let you die 3 months later. Yeah, you
MRSA.
got full on MRSA from June to September, and you let that kill you because you didn't want to go to the doctor. And the most frustrating thing is the fact that to me the whole time it was like, we're good, we'll get through this, we'll be better than this, we know we're better than this. You kept saying that, and truthfully, like I think we all kind of a little bit in the back of our minds always believed it. I don't know about you, but I was always like, the last month, I don't think we're going to make the playoffs, but I do think we could easily make the playoffs, and especially after winning the Cubs series this past week. Friday afternoon, I would have told you like at least 50-50 we're going to make the playoffs. I thought we had that in us. I thought the Reds were going to only win 2 out of 3 against the Brewers. I thought we just had to win 2 out of 3 against the Marlins. Like silly me of how hard that actually was. And shout out the Marlins for giving it their all this series and actually giving everything they literally had as an organization to winning the series, taking team pictures afterwards, and having a strobe light show for all the Mets fans in their stadium. But I forgot where I was going with that. What was I talking about before that?
I'm not quite sure. You kind of went on a diatribe there. So
I went on a whole tangent there, but it was just based on the fact that we let this happen to us slowly over and over and over again. You can't point to a specific thing, a specific time, specific instance, player, call, decision, game, anything. It just happened slowly and no one did anything to stop it. Everyone said the same shit the whole time. That's going to get better. Never did.
Bad year for blue and orange in Major League Baseball. Astros shit the bed. Mets shit the bed. Tigers shit the bed. I know they're in the playoffs.
Tigers made the playoffs.
But they almost had a cataclysmic collapse. Wish they did. Would have really taken a lot of the shine off of what we did. But, I mean, it's tough to polish a turd. And right now the Mets are just complete and utter shit. The way that they could not take 2 of 3 from the Marlins this weekend is unfathomable. The Marlins still are not good. It's still not a good baseball team.
I think they might be better than us.
Might be, probably are, but that's more of a detriment to us than a credit to the Marlins, I think, because the way that this team is set up on paper, even with all the injuries, even with the cheapo pitching that David Stearns got, right? Although Clay Holmes kind of saved the season. What's with game 161, by the way? Fucking unbelievable that we get multiple one-hitters on that in the last 15 years.
It's the dead fish bounce.
Yeah, it sucks. I hate it. But every way you look at this roster in this organization, there is literally no excuse for what just happened in the 2025 season. You can't win 83 games. It's almost hard to win 83 games. The Mets had the hardest 83 wins I think I've ever seen from a team that was supposed to be talented and good. That was a struggle to win 83. Think about that. This team had no business even smelling the postseason. Shame on us for ever believing in them because they suck.
These were the conversations we had in the beginning of August, though. Like after we had that the sweep against the Guardians and the sweep against the Brewers back to back, when those Brewers games got disgusting and horrible, and you kind of were like, I don't know how we find enough wins to get ourselves to the playoffs at that point. Like at that point, we basically we had 63 wins at the time. We were 63-48. We were honestly going from back further than that. When we swept the Giants end of July, we were 62-44. Think about that for a second. You needed 22 wins on July 27th to reach the playoffs.
You said 62-44, right?
Yeah, 62-44. Give me some quick math. But you need 22 wins before the trade deadline until the rest of the season to reach the postseason.
They need to go. So you said we needed 22 wins to reach the postseason, technically, with now knowing.
Yeah.
So the Mets played 106 games when they were 62-44. 56 games left. They need to win 22. That's what? 22-34 the Mets need to go to make the postseason?
Yeah.
That's, I mean, what a joke. What an absolute joke of an organization. And I got irrationally mad today. Because, again, I had the time to just ponder and think. It's really bothering me that I haven't heard a fucking word from Steve Cohen on Twitter. You know what his last few tweets have been?
Yeah.
I hate doing this because God, he's so much better than the Wilpons. I'll never take that back. But, one of the most recent tweets was talking about how the fans showed up this year. Team didn't. One of the most recent tweets was talking about how the fans have been quiet when we score in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. So it feels a lot better when that happens. Not as much complaining. This team disappeared for fucking 3 months. I think the fans have all the right to complain. And I am so glad I decided to not renew my season tickets. I don't think Mets fans should. What you just saw this past year was unacceptable. Just like you needed to be proven that the Mets were going to win games, or you thought they were going to win games on the run last year and you came out and you bought tickets. Totally. I would not be purchasing tickets ahead of time right now. There is absolutely no reason to rush to get in to watch the absolute garbage dog shit product the Mets put on the field this year.
Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
Isn't it ridiculous how long this franchise has existed, how little they've been able to sustain success in multiple seasons?
We're living in one of the most successful in terms of making the playoffs ever. I know we haven't seen a World
Twice
Series
in
in
4
our
years.
lifetime, but twice in 4 years is one of the most successful
Historic.
periods in Mets history in terms of making the postseason. What a fucking joke.
It's weird the fact that we're continuing to have these conversations, and I do know the thing that about the money keeps getting thrown around. Honestly, I couldn't care less about the payroll. Payroll's irrelevant.
That's idiot talk. That's stupid morons who have no actual opinion on baseball bring up the money. And they should. That's fine. The Mets are spending all this money, and they should be making the playoffs easily every single year. And the fact that they didn't is a bad look. Can you imagine? I can, because we just did it. Imagine if the Dodgers missed the playoffs. Imagine if the Yankees missed the playoffs. Teams that spend money, they would get the same thing. So I can't even say that this is like a Mets bias. They deserve it. The Mets should be getting dragged through the mud for not making the postseason.
And we will, and we are. Like, the dragging through the mud is happening. The media storm that we're going to have to deal with until next summer about not making the playoffs this year is going to be cataclysmic. And the funny thing is that last year and this year, we wound up in the same spot at the end of the season. We were tied for the last wild card spot. Tied both times, exactly the same thing. And last time we got lucky with a tiebreaker, a 3-way tiebreaker for no fucking reason. This year, we didn't get unlucky, but we just lost the games that we should have won. At least one of them along the line, and just didn't have the tiebreaker against a bad team who kind of was not the beginning of the end of our season, but those first 2 games out of the All-Star break against the Reds were a bit of a come to Jesus moment for us. Realization.
This team is not ready to play baseball. Not interested in winning. This was not a team, a clubhouse, an organization that was interested in winning baseball games this year. It didn't feel like it, top to bottom.
I hate to do this. I have to give some credit to Mike Francesa. Crazy. I can't believe I'm pulling that name out. Did you hear his rant
on what did he say?
It was just how much of a colossal failure this is. How this is the sports pope. As shocked as anybody, these guys couldn't pull it together.
That's crazy.
He still can't believe they couldn't. He was like, I figured at some point they would turn it on a little bit, and they just literally never did. No, again, but that is the take that's right. And like, you come out of the All-Star break, we talked about this at the time. I hate to do full Monday morning quarterback of the whole season. Maybe we'll do that at some point this week. I don't fucking know what's going to happen.
Talk about Alex Carrillo.
The first relief pitcher you could use out of the All-Star break is Alex Carrillo. And that's similarly in this fucking game on Sunday where Mendoza gets a little happy feet. I understand pulling Sean Manaea because Sean Manaea has been inconsistent, unreliable the entire season.
Get it.
Yeah, and I do give Sean Manaea a good bit of credit because after the game, they're like, what went wrong this season? He was like, me. If I'm okay, we make the playoffs. So it's like, it's nice to hear anybody be like, yeah, it was me. You go to Brazoban, you go to Brooks Raley after that. Brooks Raley at this point is your second most reliable reliever that you have on the roster. And you get happy feet with Brooks Raley against a righty when you've been trusting Brooks Raley against right-handed batters as basically a setup man for the last month when he's gone to this role, and you take him out.
Brazoban looked good. It felt like a quick hook on Brazoban, who's been giving us multiple innings.
It just felt like anytime Carlos Mendoza has kept pretending and talking about the fact that he was managing Game 7, and then all of a sudden he acted like he was managing Game 7 when he was saying that but ignoring his own advice for the last 2 weeks.
Let's just say what it is. He had one of the worst years managerial-wise ever. Absolutely fucking incapable of the job.
So today the Mets got 24 outs in the game because the Marlins didn't come up to bat in the bottom of the 9th inning. Do you know who got the most outs on the Mets?
Sean Manaea?
Edwin Diaz.
Nice. Good.
2 clean innings, 25 pitches.
That's good.
Saved him for it.
It was in moments that didn't matter.
Yeah. That was it. And it's just similar to all the bullshit we've said all season. You had chances the first few innings. You couldn't push one across. And all of a sudden, once the offense didn't come through early, then everyone kind of died together and nothing happened. And the bottom of the order was horrific. We talked about, sorry to you guys personally for the episode we put out on Saturday.
We had to do it. We have sponsors. We have to take care of them.
Had to do a third episode. I was busy at the beginning of the week. Mark was busy at the end of it. We couldn't do like an instant reaction to game thing. We would have much preferred to do that. Sometimes life gets a bit in the way. Brett Beatty gets hurt on Friday. You see how much it drastically affects this team in one shot. The fact that you're like, oh shit, Ron Mauricio can't really take professional at bats or, have the coherency to play defense well all the time. He did make some really nice plays in these couple games. He made almost the worst play of the season on Friday. Also, somehow he drew 2 walks on Sunday. I don't know how. He put himself on base multiple times. I couldn't believe in the moment. Jared Young got an at bat last game of the season. Yeah, that was crazy.
Good.
I was just watching the whole thing unfold. You were just like, this is fucking disgusting.
Going to Stanek. What are we doing?
It's just, again, you kind of went through the parade too fast, and you're like, I need a right-handed pitcher now. And it seems like in that Carlos Mendoza, while saying everybody was available, no trust whatsoever in David Peterson, no trust whatsoever in Jonah Tong. Not that I can fault all of that. No trust whatsoever in Sean Manaea, but can't really fault that either.
As much as little trust as we have in those guys, it's mountains, loads more than Ryan Stanek, who has been the worst reliever in baseball for months. He's been unpitchable. Ryan Stanek might not throw another pitch for another major league team unless they're a bottom dweller like the White Sox. He's cooked. He's got nothing. And we've known this since June. We've known this since May. He's been terrible. And the fact that he went to Ryan Stanek, it's Carlos Mendoza did the worst job I've ever seen a baseball manager do. And it's because that's Aaron Boone, that's Dave Roberts all those years that he caught shit. It's fucking Kevin Cash pulling Blake Snell in the World Series. Carlos Mendoza, start to finish, absolutely fucking terrible this year. Awful. I know we're going to talk about it more. The take that everyone's going to be running with is that he is going to come back. I don't know if I can really even rationalize how you can watch what he did this year as an in-game manager and say, yeah, I'll give him one more shot. He's had fucking 2 seasons where he's been horrible. Jose Iglesias and JD Martinez saved his ass. He sucks. He doesn't have a fucking clue. He's in over his head. We should have never hired an Aaron Boone disciple. That's how we fucking should have known. Aaron Boone's an idiot. We took a guy who was underneath him.
WFA and Mark, can I ask you a trivia question?
Yes.
How many appearances do you think Ryan Stanek had this year in the Mets?
70.
It was 66.
That's so many. That's so many. How does he even get close to that? He should have been DFA'd in fucking May.
I miss Rico Garcia. That's a big one.
Shame on fucking David Stearns, too. Because David Stearns makes the calls. And David Stearns, for some reason, has a fucking rock-hard boner for Ryan Stanek. I have no idea how that's even possible. When anyone who's ever watched baseball, I think my mom, who couldn't tell you IVB, doesn't know what that means, honestly, might not know the difference between a fastball and a slider. Would be like, this guy stinks. He can't get anybody out. He doesn't get anybody to swing and miss. He's got nothing. How, as bad as Mendoza was, how the fuck does David Stearns keep him on this team this long?
You just remember the playoffs last year, how he turned it on and absolutely just flipped the switch in the middle of everything, and all of a sudden, he's a guy. And the bullpen was so bad, wasn't exactly a high bar to stay in it really throughout the season, was it? The fact that Ryan Helsley got like a sad inning in this game, that Stanek went in before Helsley too, like that was... it's just the whole thing was kind of disgusting, but it kind of got disgusting already by the time it got to Carlos Mendoza. Like it was, I'm telling you, everybody failed this season.
Oh, no, everybody. Yes,
Top
I know.
down.
Yeah.
Every single person failed. Like, David Stearns has a lot of questions to answer. He's taking some media availability on Monday at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, something like that.
I can't even listen to that shit, honestly.
I'm gonna get every single word of it.
I can't hear this team talk anymore. Like, I honestly don't even want to hear anything. After we're done recording, I'm gonna turn the brain off from the Mets for like a good bit where I'm like, I don't want to hear what David Stearns has to say, anybody, because it's just.
Did Pete Alonso opt out after the game?
Yeah, of course, he was going to opt out. I mean,
just doing it to the media, the Scott Boras method. I thought that was great.
I mean, that's classic and
Yeah.
super awkward, but bring him back. Better bring him back.
It's watching this whole thing happen. You knew it was happening when it was happening. Miserable, and this weekend especially. Like that, I liked how honest Gary, Keith, and Ron were about how disappointing and embarrassing this team played.
Ron took shots at Mendoza. Shots.
And I think a lot of the players as well. I think
Yeah.
Keith did too. I think everyone was like pretty honest in their criticism. Like the way that the game unfolded, especially on Friday, like that was the punch in the gut when I think I fully grasped that we were missing the playoffs. Like I was like, at that moment, I know we're out.
Yeah.
It's over. Like you got the dead fish bounce, the glimmer of hope on Saturday. But watching that inning where Sproat gives up some hard base hits, and then it was a weird situation, which is the same criticism about Mendoza the whole season, where it seems like he gets to trouble without planning that trouble could have existed.
He has no feel. He has no plan. This team's hasn't been prepared all year. It starts with the manager. I've been screaming it.
Especially in that game where you get out to a 2-0 lead off the series win the day before. You're like, holy shit, we have momentum. Like, we're actually going to be able to like turn this over. You get a couple bats of runs in scoring position. Lindor lines into the double play. And then you do get to that fifth inning where, bang, 3 straight hits to start the inning. Like, there's an idea where I know Brandon Sproat didn't have a lot of pitches. A lot of people get very obsessed with pitch counts as a method to take pitchers out of the game. But when you give up 3 hits, all not super hard hit, but all hits on 4 pitches, when you know these other guys are coming up ready to fucking swing, pitch counts a little bit out the window at that point, and now you've just turned the lineup over. And this is the problem with Mendoza, where again there was no plan for the trouble before the trouble came. So
it's never ready.
You're in a situation where do you have a short leash on the guy or do you have a long leash on the guy? And Mendoza made the cardinal sin of having a medium leash on the guy. Yeah. You let the 3 hits happen, and then you let another run score and then another bullshit loop base hit. So then now all of a sudden, when you're already losing and there's another guy on base, now you're bringing the reliever. So it's already a stressful situation. It's already messy, and you've already ruined the confidence of the guy out there. And the players on the field, the other 7, 8 guys behind them. So you kind of fucked up every single thing in one shot. And then you have the discourse like you should have left him in. But like truthfully, you should have left him in, or you should have just taken him out right at the fucking jump before that lineup turned over a third time. It's just over and over again during this stretch where this team kind of fell apart over 3 months, but especially over this last 3 weeks, you didn't have the wherewithal, the anticipation to make these moves ahead of time, and it bit them in the ass over and over again.
He was pulling his Tony La Russa impression. He was falling asleep in the dugout. He wasn't prepared. Was not prepared. And then the other thing, too, is that as good as Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, those guys are, they can only do so much. This team finishes the season without a comeback win in the 9th inning. I know that's like an insane stat, but also that's an insane stat. No fight. Team had no fight. The team laid down, absolutely laid down. When things got tough, this team said, oh, well, we lose. And it also starts with Mendoza, too, because the amount of times we fucking punted this year, the amount of punt games. You mentioned we had 3 7-game losing streaks. That's hard to do in Major League Baseball, unless you're the worst team in baseball like the White Sox or the Rockies. And I don't even think they had 3 7-game losing streaks this year. It's a rare feat to have for a team that won 83 games. The punting, the Alex Carrillo decisions, there's no sense of urgency with this team from start to finish. And you heard it after every fucking bad loss. We know we're going to play better. We know we have to play better. We know we have to play better. It's September 29th when we're recording this and the season's over. Congrats, guys. You didn't play better. You fucking did nothing. You did not show up, and someone's got to be held accountable. Somebody. Otherwise, we're just going to do it again. We're going to do it again next year.
Hey, if you're a card collector or you're looking to collect, buy, sell, trade, Arena Club's the spot. I'm going to tell you why. Because the old process, AJ, was very clunky. Buy a box, rip the pack, tons of commons, send it in for grading. And then finally, you get everything back. This is weeks and weeks, and you can start to try and sell the card. We have eliminated that with Arena Club, or they have. I act like I'm part of it. But in really one step.
Arena's your one-stop shop for everything. You get a card, you open a slab pack, the card is there, it's graded, it spins around coolly, shows you 3D, the front, the back. You can look at the corners, you can look at everything. And then you get a decision. Do I want to keep it? Do I want to sell it? Do I want to trade it? It gives you an instant offer. You can buy it back and re-rip another slab pack and try for something else. Or you can keep it and hope the value goes up and sell it at a later date. It is truly the best spot to get cards.
20% off your first slab pack or card purchase can be had right now at arenaclub.com/FOUL and use code FOUL.
Do you remember the Wednesday game against the Braves after the big win that Tuesday where we scored 13 runs and we jumped out to a 6-0 lead and then David Peterson coughed all of them back up? Like, it's just there was so many of these little fucking instances to point to where you just could never stop the bleeding. And this is the thing where, again, I'm not intending to be critical of those three guys at the top because they all had great seasons numbers wise between Lindor, Soto, and Alonso. But there is a leadership element that clearly those three guys did lack, because when a team can bleed out like this, there has to be some kind of anything, someone to shake a cage, someone to have a conversation, someone to speak up and be like, this is unacceptable. And part of that is just on the other players for not performing. But there does have to be a consideration as to how adequately that group of three can lead. Not perform, because I know they can perform, but leading-wise, like there's some element missing personality-wise. I won't say effort-wise, I'm not going to say preparation-wise because we don't know what that is, but there's something that's not there among what those guys should have and could have that it's absent.
Yeah, and I mean, I do think the common denominator is Lindor and Pete. They were on the team in 2024 as well, and until, again, Jose Iglesias and JD Martinez was there, similar issues, no leadership, nothing going on. Lindor leads by example. Pete leads by example. I'm tired of leading by example. It only goes so far. You need some kind of rah-rah, here we go, get this.
It's not even rah-rah. It's holding people accountable. It's like there's always this saying about, again, especially those two guys, Lindor, Pete, and Soto, that it's like you go in, you do your work, you get done, we have to get done. And Lindor, people talk about the fact Lindor, like, basically has a conversation with every single person in the clubhouse every single day. Like, that's good leadership shit. And then someone else has to do stuff like that. You have to make sure that Jeff McNeil's doing his work. You have to check up on the young guys more consistently. You have to check in on people who are maybe not checking in as much on themselves, to understand how often to check in themselves, how much you need to do to be a major leaguer, what you actually have to do. And same thing goes to the pitching, I'm sure. Like, there's another
the pitching, God.
A mercenary pitching staff like this, definitely devoid of leaders. Like, Sean Manaea is the leader. He was here for 1 year, and he sucked ass this year. He pitched half the season, and he was fucking horrible. David Peterson was growing into a leader. You know what happened? Ass.
Shit the bed.
Became ass for 6 straight weeks.
Turbo dog shit.
The guys who were supposed to at least be like the rocks in the middle, who we kind of assumed would wind up being in some combination of this trio, the rocks in the middle of Peterson, Sanga, Manaea. One of those guys shows up for the last 6 weeks of the season. Again, you're in the playoffs, probably in the playoffs by a few games. 2 of those guys show up. We might be playing a home series at Citi Field this week, but
that's the other thing.
No one shows up.
It's just like, how does this keep happening? How do we keep having the same issues over and over again? Like, this shit doesn't happen to other teams. Kodai Senga, like, talking to the press after the game today, being like, I don't even know what's going on with my body. I'm going to have to change everything. But he's the weirdest fucking player I've ever seen. I'm getting so sick and tired of it. Go out there and fucking pitch, dude. Shove. Enough of this, like, oh, my body is not feeling right. I'm not in. Like, excuses. This team was full of excuses this year, and they took accountability at the end of it today. Juan Soto called the season a failure. Pete, Mendoza, all those guys, they all called it a failure. But during the season, it was like, well, we're getting unlucky. Well, we're executing the game plan, but it's not working for wins. Hey, guys, it's fucking broken. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. What? How many losses? How many times? I can't keep running it back. I can't keep seeing the same thing over and over again. This is what we were screaming about earlier in the year. This is what we were yelling about. It was like, hey, so either this team sucks or the plan is bad, and both happened. The plan is bad and the team sucks because they made no adjustments all year.
Mark Beningo, you trying to get yourself on a WFAN roundtable?
The more I talk about it, the angrier I get. I said I wasn't going to rant, and then I remember how can I just quickly?
Are you talking about right now?
Yeah, just remember when Mike Sarbaugh didn't fucking send Tyrone Taylor because he's a
Guardians.
moron? I mean,
I thought about that one today.
You can go back to so many different times. How about when they had the fucking bases loaded against the Dodgers, couldn't get the run in? How about when they had the fucking bases loaded what was it against the Braves, the National?
Dude,
there's
it's
like
the
10
Brewers
teams.
series.
The Brewers series.
You had
with
3 games in a row. You're winning in the 7th inning or
Starling
later.
Marte's
You lose
fast,
them all.
James. He's fast.
You
Keep him on
lose-
the base paths.
You lose all of them. It's
He's
just
40. He's so fast.
What about the Ryan Mauricio home run off of Robert Suarez against Robert Suarez and the Padres? You still managed to lose that game afterwards. It's just the whole thing over and over and over and over again. It never fucking stopped. It never stopped. I go back to Carrillo being the first guy out of the bullpen after the All-Star break.
Me
which
and
is
you were livid.
incredible. Yeah.
Livid when that happened. We're like,
How's this happening?
We like him as the 11th guy in the bullpen because he throws 100. You go into
Pitch him
in the-
Sunday.
Yeah, why the fuck is he pitching today? Nobody threw. The Mets had one all-star reliever. It was Edwin Diaz. He has a rubber arm. He can throw forever.
Dude, the same thing happened the game on Friday, where the game on Thursday, you don't really use any of the real relievers.
No.
Or the guys you did use only pitched one day, so everybody can pitch again. Why is Gregory Soto the first guy of the bullpen who gets a bunch of fucking righties?
He sucks, by the way. I was so fucking right. He sucks, Gregory Soto. Get him off this fucking team. I never want to see him again.
Especially when he's used in horrible situations, like coming in with a guy on first base and 4 righties are coming up in a row. Why is that the truth?
He's got nothing, so you have to put him in perfect situations, and they failed him.
But again, here's the inconsistencies of Carlos Mendoza.
That's
I
what I'm
call out
saying.
every single episode. On Friday, Gregory Soto, who's 6th, 5th ranked in the bullpen, is okay to come in against a bunch of righties with a guy on base. But on Sunday, Brooks Raley, who's the 2nd ranked guy in the bullpen, he can't pitch against a righty with a guy on first base. How does that make sense?
Because he's an idiot. Because he's a bad manager. He's terrible.
He got scared. He got stressed out. He couldn't handle the anxiety. Where the fuck is John Gibbons? I want
he's the worst bench coach in the history of bench coach.
I want to hear more about what you're supposed to be. The guy guiding the still young and experienced manager through these decisions.
I got a phone call.
Here, take it. Where is he? Where's the guy? Something.
That's all he does. He answers the fucking phone and says the replay guy says to challenge it. John Gibbons did fucking nothing. There's a lot of fat that needs to be trimmed from this organization. A lot of fat, and they've gotta. The players on the field, we need some new players too. But like this coaching staff, Antoine Richardson, he's back. Everybody else, I can do without.
We're gonna have to also think about where the organization is as a whole. Like, we're still, I think, bullish on the future of the Mets, like long term as expectedly.
Farm system's great.
Farm system's sick.
Nobody wants to hear that though.
Always going to have a lot of money, but I'm not even talking about that. I'm just like, how? Again, this is the 5th full season with Steve Cohen. It's not exactly the ownership's fault that any of these players have faltered over and over again, but this idea, like, especially when you look at this roster, there's 4 different general managers that acquired different players on this roster. Some of the guys been managed by 3 or 4 different managers. Like, there's this level of instability that I think we have hopefully possibly kind of gotten over the hump, at least with David Stearns. But we're the situation where you might be keeping Carlos Mendoza around just for the sake of not firing another manager because you don't want to fire a 3rd manager in 5 years. But then that also might be like, holy shit, we might have a bad manager again for the next few years because we're scared to fire the guy now.
It should never hired Buck Showalter. That was like you hired
that was
the
old
guy you hired the old guy that you knew was going to be on the chopping block as soon as anything went south. Like, at least from the Mendoza standpoint, I can understand because you got a young manager that you were hoping you could build something with. The best case scenario with some of the other guys, it hasn't made sense. It hasn't made sense. And maybe he meddles too much. Maybe he's too interactive and involved. Maybe he needs to step away and just let the president do every single decision ever. I don't know. It's just there is something wrong. I'm not blaming Steve Cohen. So much better than the Wilpons. Like 17-year-old Mark would be punching me in the face for complaining right now that our owner spent all this money.
I don't know about that, actually.
You don't think so?
I think 17-year-old Mark would be a little more mad about this because you were 22 games over 500. You missed the playoffs.
Well, no. Would be mad about that. Mad about complaining about Steve Cohen. That's what.
Sure. Yeah, no, definitely.
This is way more mad.
It's an incomprehensible. Collapse isn't even the word. Like, I see the word collapse.
It's not a collapse.
Collapse is just the wrong noun. Is that a noun?
The Roman Empire collapsed. Like, that was like all of a sudden overnight. You're like, fuck, where'd it go?
No, but this was months. I mean, honestly, what collapsed quicker, the Roman Empire or the fucking Mets? Like, how'd it all go down? But I don't know. Steve Cohen, as long as he's there and he's paying the money, he's hiring people that he expects to be good for their jobs. Like, it's hard to blame him. Like, he did his job unless, which is possible, which we're going to talk about more later this week, there's an organizational structure element here that is not really working and that might need to be addressed. And if that is the case, that is probably actually worse than what just happened in the field for the last few months.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a structural system, if if there's a bad flow chart here, that's worse than anything.
Just like zoom out here. Maybe this will be kind of how we wrap up this episode. I don't know. I could talk for another hour. Juan Soto, best season of his career, right? Imagine you say that. Juan Soto, 40 home runs, 30 stolen bases, 950 OPS on the season. Pete Alonso hits 40 home runs, drives in 120. Francisco Lindor goes 30-30 for the second straight year. What if I told you, not just that, Brett Beatty, breakout. Francisco Alvarez, breakout. Mets missed the playoffs. How is that even possible? How is that even conceivable?
Because every other thing besides that kind of went wrong. Like every single thing. Like
they spend all the money. They got the president. They got a great farm system. They had a good trade deadline on paper, and every single acquisition was an integral part as to why they didn't make the playoffs. I've never seen anything like it.
There's been a lot of shit thrown fairly on both Ryan Helsley and Cedric Mullins' name. I want to throw a teeny bit more on Tyler Rogers.
Oh, Tyler Rogers stunk.
Did he not have any clean innings this entire last little stretch here?
And I know it's bullshit contact, but now that the season's over, I can be like, dude,
fuck?
You know how me and you always scream about how strikeouts are the only thing that matter for relievers? Tyler Rogers is the epitome of it because he struck out 6% of batters while he was on the Mets, and that's not good enough because you get the bloops, you get the doinks. He can't come in with runners on because if a doink goes in, it's going to score because it's going to drop in between the outfielder, past the infielder. It's a weirdly unsustainable, very specific role.
It's definitely not unsustainable because he's had under 2 ERA for 4 straight years.
But here's what I'll tell you.
Small sample, you can get unlucky, then it can snowball, and that's how this happens.
But baseball being the weird sport that it is where every game is so incredibly important, as we can tell, but also it's 162 games, so it's so fucking long that you need some consistency, and that's why you have sample sizes. But maybe that's the fault? I don't know. Is it?
I think it was more about this, again, the bad luck and then the stench as a snowball. But even still, you still trusted Tyler Rogers objectively relative. I don't know how we're on such a little niche tangent conversation.
We're sick.
Why do you go to Ryan Stanek as the righty in the bullpen before Tyler Rogers and then bring in Tyler Rogers to clean up Ryan Stanek's mess? He can't do it. You know what I mean? The fact that it was that order of them doesn't make any sense. And another big thing we talked about heading into the season with this team being offense has to carry us. We trust the bullpen becomes fine with Edwin Diaz on top, but David Stearns doing nonsense all season long. The starting rotation, we don't know, but there's at least relative depth. So if you have a rotation of 3s and 4s, if you have enough of them to fill in when the other guys get hurt and you finally fill things in and we understand the prospects we hoped would fill the gaps at some point exactly after the moment where they would maintain the rookie eligibility, which we should have known. That's on us for not realizing that. And then you have a 3-week stretch in June where you all of a sudden, not the flashiest, sexiest names in the world, but you lose Canning, Sanga, McGill, bang, 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 3 straight weeks. And all of a sudden the depth is gone. You go a month of Hageman and Waddell. Sanga comes back. Terrible. Manaea comes back, fucking worse. And it's just where the hell is the relief? You bring up Jonah Tong with his fucking wide eyes and his happy smile, and he gets lit on fire because he's not ready for the show yet. And it's just everything that could have gone wrong still went wrong, and it made it worse that it still wasn't built in the best way either.
No, I think this team was not built sustainably for 2025. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we were relatively open about that. Happy that we were the ones on the offseason being I don't think it's a World Series contending team, worse than the Phillies. Get to the playoffs and have some fun. But yeah, and also we talk so much about how we're cleaning up these books. We're getting rid of all the middle tier, middle class contracts, and then you still look and you're Marte $21 million, Nimmo $20 million, Manaea $20 million, Edwin $20 million, Montas $17 million, Jeff $16 million. You know what I mean? That mix, think about those names I just said and how helpful they were to this team this year.
Pretty much a net 0 at best.
That's where you lose compared to those other teams who don't get to have those top guys, but at least have guys in the middle who are just being fine, good enough. Even when you get the good seasons from Alvarez and Beatty and you have the guys on top, the entire middle class of this team fell flat in their face.
Yeah, I mean, the Mets basically played with 16-man roster, basically?
Yeah, more or less. And it's and the funniest thing is last year, the exact same strategy worked like a charm.
Of course, yeah.
Perfectly.
The difference was that Jose Iglesias came up and was what if I hit 380?
Yeah, what if Jose Iglesias has an 800 OPS for the first time since he was 17 years old? But it's just baseball is weird. Maybe you have to lean into more of the weird shit. This team just didn't really have any personality the whole year. Any
Zero
oomph.
personality. Zero.
No tenacity. There's just no fierceness. Like people are like, oh, Jesse Winker, the emotional leader, got hurt. Jesse Winker can't be your fucking emotional leader.
Jesse Winker also had horrible numbers as a Met. Wasn't very good.
And you signed Jesse Winker. He couldn't play defense. You know who else couldn't play defense? Starling Marte. You know who else couldn't play defense? Mark Vientos. You have 3 guys in your active roster on opening day who couldn't play defense. Like where is this all going to come from? Like
yeah.
It's just this roster got bogged down. Like for us, we live in a great spot where money's infinite, but the roster spaces are finite. And too many of these roster spots were taken up by guys who just weren't really helping that much.
No. Like Marte had his moments this year where he was great, and then he also had his moments where he was bad. It's not his fault by any means. Since I'm not blaming Starling Marte, it's just part of the conversation of like, fuck, man, how does this happen? How does this happen? Also, when you look at this roster, you're like, how is that $340 million?
Well, that's what I'm telling you because I just listed the guys. Because again, what starts with Juan Soto, $62 million.
Get it,
one.
totally.
Francisco Lindor, 32 and a half. And then Pete, 30. So right there. We're up about 125.
Where's the other 250?
We're already ahead of the Reds and just those guys on their payroll. But then again, Starling 21, Nimmo 21, Minaya 20, Edwin 18 and a half, Frankie Montas 17, Jeff 16, Kodai 16. Like we're all of a sudden right there. We've just built another small market team's payroll. And then the rest of it fills in by all the nonsense at the bottom of the roster.
Oh, God, this team sucked.
Terrible.
Like,
and also, you
win
win one more game. One more game.
And then we get
one more fucking game.
Just to get throttled by the Dodgers. But
I even get into 3 games. Watch the Reds fucking beat the Dodgers. Some bullshit. Watch Lodolo and Hunter Green both shove.
Please.
It's just
prove to me that the Mets actually had no business being there. Don't even give me a glimmer of hope and be like they got crushed by the Dodgers. I want the Reds to beat them so bad.
Remember the Guardian series?
Which one? No, I know.
No, the one. Like, and we lost 3 games at home to the Cleveland Guardians.
Because the Cleveland Guardians have had 2 of the most nightmare series for us the last 2 seasons, where we went there, dominated. That's where Cade Smith, I'm like, holy shit, who's this guy? And then they come here and it's like, Gavin Williams, holy shit.
Gavin Williams, awesome. I wish he
would have saved the Guardians season, actually.
That was their, I'm not going to say that was their firm, full turning point, but that was a big moment where their shit turned around. It really was. When they came to Citi Field.
And that team has no talent.
When they came to Citi Field, they had just won a series against the Twins, and they had just gotten over 500. They walked into Citi Field 56-55, and they left. They swept us, and then they won a series against the White Sox, and then they won a series against the Marlins. And then even after that, they had a stretch where they lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9 out of 10 games after that, and they still got hot in September and made the playoffs.
I wish.
It's just sometimes baseball, you just kind of have to have fun. You just got to beat yourself a little bit, chill out. And
the Mets did not have fun this year.
There was I'm shouting you guys out, but there was a funny conversation that was happening in the Messed Up Discord before this series where one of the members was like, if we clinch against the Marlins, I don't even want these guys to have a champagne celebration. They don't deserve it. I was like, I pray to God these guys can just let loose and maybe chuckle, laugh, have a drink, because it seems like none of that shit was happening the whole year. It seems like
for a team that didn't do anything last year, accomplished nothing. Didn't hang a single banner. Right? There's no banners hung for last year. I don't give a fuck about wild card stuff. Like they shouldn't be hanging that shit anyway in the stadium. But at the same time, it felt like they had a target on their back for a team that accomplished nothing, which is crazy.
No, that's not true because they did have a target on their backs. This Mets roster, 100% of targets on their backs.
I think that would be foolish to say. I think the Dodgers.
You're wrong.
Everybody's coming for the Dodgers.
No. The Mets, when you sign Juan Soto,
I think fans have the target. I think the rest of the league's like.
Did you watch what the Marlins did after this game?
Yeah, but
you're going to say we don't have targets on our backs?
That's because they fucking get to celebrate ruining a division rival's season. If that was the Phillies,
that's a target.
If that was the Phillies, it was the same thing. If that was the Braves, it's the same thing. It has nothing to do with the Mets.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying
that's not a target.
2 teams you're going to have targets on their backs. No,
a target is circle. This is the team to beat. This is the team that we need to be better than.
No. A target is bulletin board material. Fuck these guys for this reason, and the Mets 100% had that. It's not their fault. When you sign Juan Soto, you have a target on your back. back forever. People, why it's the same? It's the exact same thing as the way the media acts, the way random people on the street act.
I think it's a fan thing. I don't think
no.
any other
You're
teams.
way off on
I don't
this.
think any other teams give a fuck. I think you're super off on this.
No, I think you're off. You guys let us know in the comments who's off on the target on the back conversation.
Nobody went at the Mets one time this year. They just beat.
What do you mean went at the Mets?
If there was a target on the back, there would be some animosity. There would be something. There would be juice. These teams just came out and beat the Mets. There was no target on the Mets back this year. Absolutely none.
Teams love playing us. They revel in it. They
That's
excited
not a
the fact that
target.
they
That's not a
that
target.
is a target.
No,
yes,
it's
it
not.
is. And that's the reason these guys crumbled because they couldn't handle being hunted. Last year, the pressure all came off.
They gave their own pressure. I actually couldn't disagree more. They put all the pressure on themselves. No other teams put pressure on the Mets at all. The pressure's on the Dodgers. The pressure is on the Yankees. The teams that were actually successful last year.
Dude, going into the season, the Mets had some of the most pressure in baseball. We made the Final Four last season, and we signed Juan Soto. Are you forgetting all of the discourse
and
the
everybody
context?
knew they had no pitching.
And then what? But then, we the best record in baseball through 2 full months.
Who was predicting the Mets to do these big things this year? Everybody was like, they're going to be okay. They're going to make the playoffs. I don't think the target on the back is nearly what you think it was.
I think you're thinking about this a little bit too smartly. We were like, oh, people thought we were going to win 89 games. That's not a target. When you sign Juan Soto, you reach the Final Four. You have a braggadocious owner. You have a target on your back. 100%.
I think that's loser. I think that's a loser mentality because the rest of the league wants to beat winners. The Mets haven't won dick. Mets haven't won shit.
They won last year, Final Four.
That they didn't win anything. They made it to the Final Four. Congratulations.
But that puts a target on your back.
Absolutely not. Dodgers.
This is insane conversation.
I think the Mets didn't win anything. This is like fucking bragging about Grimace and OMG shit.
I'm not saying they won anything, but I'm saying they won enough and then paid enough people to put a target literally on their backs. This is a team. This is the same fucking thing that happened between 22 and 23, where all of a sudden you're really good. You realize you might have actually been good. Then you fell apart. Then next season you're like, oh, I think we're actually good. You're not good, but now everyone goes into the game assuming you're good. Last year you snuck up on people.
On their own back. I don't think anybody was like, we gotta beat the
fucking
Mets.
That's stupid.
I don't think anybody's like, we gotta beat the Mets.
No one puts targets on their own backs.
No
That's
Major
not part
League
of
Baseball
it.
teams like we gotta get the Mets.
Dude, you're so fucking wrong. People
Major League
love
Baseball team.
taking the Mets.
Fans love it more.
Did you see Connor Norby talking at press conference on Friday?
Because they got to end a season. If it was the Braves, if it was the Phillies, if it was the Nationals, if it was the Reds, if it was the Brewers, they'd be doing the same thing.
I don't think so. I think the Mets have a reputation. I think you're a little bit too inside of it. You don't realize the way the Mets are viewed.
This is the one time where I think you're doing the fan thing and I'm doing the baseball thing.
I don't know. Maybe. If that's the case, whatever. It's 3:17 in the morning.
We got to go to bed.
I'm being delirious right now. Get out of here.
Regardless, the Mets fucking crumbled.
Fuck the Mets. The Mets fucking suck. The Mets suck.
Damn it. They made us argue on the last episode of the season.
This team is ass. This team was ass for 3.5 straight months. And you know what else? We're going to have a much more cogent conversation the next couple of days talking about this fucking bullshit. We're doing voicemails. That won't be a little less cogent, but give you guys another day. We'll refresh the voicemails on Instagram. Send more good ones in because you just heard us talk. You guys have a lot of runway to be stupid as shit because we're dumb as fuck.
Keep it under like 30 seconds, please. Yeah. I can't do the fucking 4-minute messages.
This is not your podcast. This is our podcast, your voicemail. Yes. That's a big part of it. And you know, if it's over a minute, I'm playing you 2x speed, so it's going to hurt everything. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to grade every player. We're going to have an organizational conversation. If anything else comes up, we'll talk about that too. I can't wait for the first op-ed, the first anonymous source. That's going to be
we're going to hear so much shit.
When Jeff McNeil gets traded to the Angels, the anonymous sourcing is going to come out of the bullshit he has to say is what a dream that's going to be.
You think Angels?
Yeah, I think Rockies.
Royals.
You think they're going to make the Jonathan India mistake
Yep.
for the second consecutive offseason?
100%.
Bring me Ryan Bergert. Perfect.
Do they have a reliever that costs way too much money? Estevez?
No. Give me Kolek. That's just like last year they traded Singer.
But we gotta offset the money somehow, I think.
Yeah, I think one of those starting pitchers in the second-year arbitration, maybe. Yeah, you know what else we're going to do in 2 weeks? Going to be tons of offseason stuff.
Talk about Ketel Marte is the number one trade target for this team.
Because this roster is fucking not good right now. There has to be a lot of churn to make it a lot better. And I don't know what's going to happen to these young players. I don't know what's going to happen to any of these guys. I think, so quick gut reaction before we leave you. Jeff McNeil, last game is a Met today.
Yes.
Mark Vientos, last game is a Met today.
No.
Interesting. I would say yes for that. Is that who else under contract?
Ronnie Mauricio. Last game was a Met today. I think yes.
Okay, we'll see about that. David Peterson.
No.
Edwin Diaz.
Yes.
And the last big one, Pete Alonso.
No.
Okay, let's see. Hold that. Bang.
We'll say this. I think they actually have to pay Edwin.
Yeah, I guess
I've got full 180. I think they got to pay him.
I was just doing real disgusting
so
shit today.
good.
I was looking at free agents. I was like, there's no one.
That's what I was like.
No one's gonna close.
How are you gonna build this bullpen if you don't have Edwin Diaz being the main guy?
Brooks Raley's gonna be the closer next season.
He's going to hold them at ransom, Edwin.
There's
Good for
one
him.
guy. Yeah, he says he's gonna talk to his family first. His family's gonna be like, "Bring me that money."
They're gonna be like, talk to Steve Cohen, get that money, Edwin.
Oh my God, this is I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. All the people chirping about how much better this rotation has to get. I have bad news. You know who's under contract next year? Sean Manaea, David Peterson, for Clay Holmes.
Frankie Montas will never throw a pitch again.
Yeah, if he's not gonna throw a pitch, so the rotation is maxed out, and maybe they get one guy. Who knows? I don't know what's gonna happen. Ready to be disappointed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be a fun offseason, but that's why you subscribe to the Mets'd podcast. So we give you all our takes and opinions, and you can scream and yell at us in the comments, or you can agree with us. Fall knowers.
From today, shout out my guy Chris. I watched the game with. Shout out John, met him at Lou's Athletic Club.
Shout out
He
John.
was like, James Shiano. I was like, you want to split this booth in front of the TV and watch the game? I was like, yeah, I'd love to. Shout out my guy Ronnie. Shout out Lorenzo. Having nice conversations all night.
Shout out the people I met at the University of South Carolina game this weekend. A lot of people love a giraffe, which I appreciate that. And then also a guy in Bass Pro Shops
Nice.
in North Carolina was like, I think I know who you are. And I was like, yeah. He's like, Giraffe Neck Mark. He's like, think the Mets season's gonna. I was like, thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Was that DC's first Bass Pro?
I think it's their second.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair. That's a culture shock walking in the South. But again, shout out all you guys. You made the
appreciate
season
you guys.
great.
Yeah.
Every Mets fan, you guys get an A+ for this season.
Oh, A+.
A++.
3 million. Crazy.
Unbelievable how much we packed the stadium and how in 1 year the Mets organization lost all the goodwill of the fan base.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be right back to nothing again.
God, next April, $16 to sit like 3 rows
That's
behind
why I
the
didn't buy
dugout's
season
gonna be
tickets.
awesome.
I'm going to be able
Yeah.
to sit in those same seats for way less than face value.
Nickel and dime them all year next year.
And then
You
when
know
they
what?
get hot next year, it'll be okay.
Perfect. But that's I'm sorry. That's the target conversation. When you can't handle pressure as a target, that's the target conversation.
I think they put the pressure on themselves.
I think it's because other teams actually woke up in the morning and was like, hey, I'd like to win the game today, rather than be like, I don't care, I'm playing today.
I hope
You have a different feeling when you play the Tigers than when you play the Mets.
I hope you're right. I want you to be right. I think they just might be losers and have no confidence.
If the Los Angeles Angels are playing one game against the Mets and a game against the Tigers, I think they have a little tiny bit more in their gas tanks for the game.
I
against
think
the
it's
Mets.
because neither of them have a target. I think if it was like Dodgers versus Mets.
And also, special shout out to the Marlins for pushing back Sandy Alcantara to pitch on 8 days rest on Friday. We appreciate them for that.
Appreciate that.
Instead of him just pitching on Tuesday and Sunday, like he should have done.
Gonna look great in the orange and blue next season.
Yeah, God. Him or Joe Ryan. I think that was the only realistic things. I don't want Framber. Maybe I would.
I don't want Framber.
I don't want Framber. I'd be ready for Dylan Cease. But we'll talk to you guys about this in November.
Yeah, because the options are bad.
It's gonna be fun. What a fun week we're about to have. Just peppering you guys with so much pain.
If you like more baseball content, check out me and James' new channel called The Wind Up. Link in the description. Go subscribe over there if you want to hear our baseball takes, not just about the Mets, but baseball in general. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano. And I'm going to be on Foul Territory today at 1 o'clock, so check me out there.
Check him out there. I'm Giraffe Neck Mark with the C. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you all later this week for some more content. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Mets fucking suck.